Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, January 19, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future or the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro model that came out at 3:30 p.m. today, as well as the latest GFS model that came out at 6 p.m. today. So keep your eyes focused right here on the timestamp at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. As you know, that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes also focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. The reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So we can say that as we head into Monday, we have some dots of greens across eastern Jamaica. We also have a line of showers associated with a frontal system right here to the east of the US, all the way down to the northern Bahamas, southern Florida, western Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize. Let's continue to go out in time. Heading into Tuesday, we see some dots of greens in and around the island for sure. Maybe some isolated showers here and there. Wednesday, we don't see much more whites than anything else. Thursday, not seeing much of anything in terms of rainfall across the island, maybe during the afternoon across western parishes. Friday, very interesting, we're seeing moisture stretching from the Windward Islands to the south of Puerto Rico, to the south of Hispaniola, all the way right here to the south and to the southeast of Jamaica. Who knows, maybe some of that might spill into a portion of the island. Look at this. We see some greens extending from central to western Jamaica by 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. Very interesting. Saturday, we're seeing an increase in moisture. We see some showers right here across southern Bahamas, eastern Cuba, Haiti, northern Jamaica, to the south of Jamaica, into Central America right here. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, January 26th. And we can see rainfall across southern Bahamas, eastern Cuba, sections of the northern portion of the Dominican Republic, eastern Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands and the northern Windward Islands. Some isolated shores on the north coast of Jamaica. And we also see some moisture across southern portion of Belize, northeastern Guatemala, northern and eastern Honduras, much of Nicaragua, and northern Costa Rica. Let us match this latest Euromodel to the latest GFS. Let us see what's taking place. Alright, so heading into Monday, we do see the greens represent some isolated showers across eastern Jamaica. We also see some moisture to the south of the island. We see the showers associated with the frontal system across the northern Bahamas, southern Florida, western Cuba, into Central America, just like what the Euro model was showing. Heading into Tuesday, not seeing much of anything across the island, but look at all of the moisture off the east coast of the US into Florida, the southern US, and the Gulf of Mexico. A very strong frontal system is going to be taking shape over that area this week for sure. Wednesday into Thursday, not seeing much of anything across the island of Jamaica, but clearly, just like what the Euro was showing, on Friday we're seeing some moisture stretching from the Windward Islands to the south of Hispaniola to the south of Jamaica. The Euro showed more of that coming into eastern Jamaica, but not so much on the GFS. Saturday, we see some moisture across northeastern parishes, some moisture to the south of Jamaica, into a portion of Belize, the Yucatan, northern Honduras right there. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Sunday, January 26th. And we can also see that moisture across northern Jamaica, just like what the Euro was showing for sure. We can also see some moisture across eastern Cuba, northern Hispaniola. We see some moisture across Central America as well. So we have some similarities, we have some slight differences, but in terms of the accumulated precipitation over the next 24 hours, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, January 26th. And we know that the most in the way of rainfall is represented by these maps is basically what we see here on the key on the right. We're talking about the reds into the burgundies, that's 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. The purples into the pinks, that's 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And the 6 to the 8 inches of rainfall is represented by the peach colors. And we can clearly see that the most in the way of rainfall over the next 7 days should be plaguing these areas that we're going to be highlighting now. The Eastern Gulf, Western Cuba, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, northwestern Panama right there. You can also see some rainfall expected for sections of Colombia, so to the Eastern Caribbean, anywhere from Dominica southward. Also affecting Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana also in the mix. And it's not only the Euro model here, but the GFS is showing something similar, especially where we see the purples into the pink. That represents 3 all the way up to 5 inches or more of rainfall. So some isolated flash flooding could definitely take place in some of these areas. I hope that persons are on their P's and Q's this week. But regarding the close-up of Jamaica, in terms of our accumulated precipitation forecast from now up until Sunday, January 26th, we can see that the most in the way of rainfall should still be plaguing northern and especially northeastern parishes, where we're seeing the blues into the greens, into the yellows, oranges, red, that represents anywhere from 1 millimeter of rainfall all the way up to maybe 90 millimeters of rainfall for sure, especially across Portland and St. Mary. That's according to the Euromodel. The latest GFS total accumulated precipitation forecast only goes up into the greens and the yellows, that represents anywhere from 15 all the way up to maybe 30 in millimeters of rainfall. And we see the number right there, 33 to be exact, across Portland, especially with the moist northeasterly flow that they're used to getting at this time of year. Either way, whatever takes place, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see numerous L's and blue lines that are spiked associated with frontal systems right here across the east of the US as well as the southeastern US. We also see a cold front right here stretching all the way from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the northeastern Caribbean, where a trough has been induced over there, as represented by the broken orange lines. And we already know that there's a ridge of high pressure somewhere up there that's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region through the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. First of all, the clouds associated with the frontal system across portions of the southeastern US, Florida for sure, bring some overcast skies and rainfall to those areas. And we can make out the clouds associated with the frontal system with the trough that it has induced into portions of the northeastern Caribbean right there. We can definitely see the low level flow, the low level patches of clouds, definitely with some isolated showers embedded within those, bringing some rainfall to sections of the windward islands, pushing through to the central to the western Caribbean. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, January 19, 2025. It was stated that rainfall was in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Sunday morning, and that would have had some afternoon rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes on Sunday. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, and the northern parishes, and we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. western parishes. I know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And as much as no post was made in the morning, I definitely got some morning rainfall across my portion of St. Thomas for sure. Very early this morning, around let's say 5:45, I went outside to throw away some garbage, and I realized that yes, we indeed were getting some amount of isolated showers across our area. We didn't see much on the Doppler radar imagery, but we definitely saw it for sure. Just some dots of greens that represent some light to moderate rainfall. That's basically it. But we can clearly see that a post was made at around 4:26 p.m. highlighting the visible satellite images. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the visible satellite images definitely showing some clouds coming into portions of eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland. We also saw some clouds exiting to the northwest from Hanover. Definitely had some overcast skies and some isolated showers over there. And even had some clouds building across southern St. Anne, northern Clarendon, far northern St. Catherine as well. Just some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers for the most part. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images right here of Jamaica before all was said and done with the day, before we lost the sunlight. Definitely had those clouds coming into section of St. Thomas, some of these clouds pushing into section of St. Anne and Westmoreland as well. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images, we can see we don't have much in. We have those high cold cloud tops or cirrus clouds at all. These days definitely bone dry, merely just low level to mid level clouds from the east, southeast. And we definitely have confirmation right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the crossroads cam at around 3:03 p.m. You can see the tree dancing in the wind, definitely windy, definitely sunny. Not seeing much in the way of cloud cover or rainfall across crossroads at all. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They also have Halfway Tree, the Kingston Harbor, the Panoramic City View, and the Flat Bridge in St. Catherine. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall today. Definitely across eastern Jamaica, mainly during the morning. Then during the afternoon across sections of some northern and western parishes. We're talking about Hanover, maybe some of that rainfall from northern St. Catherine spilling into sections of St. Anne as well. And if we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, let us see what's happening right now. Alright, so the latest still image is as of 0105 UTC, which is actually 8:05 p.m. And considering that it's 8:15 p.m. right now, this just came out 10 minutes ago. Don't see much in the way of cloud cover taking place across the island at all. Very fair night tonight for sure. If we take a look at the very latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, unfortunately, Cuban Doppler radar seems to have glitched out at around 5 p.m. But we can see that we're indeed getting some isolated showers passing through. Right here to the north of Portland, we also had a speck of isolated shower to the south of St. Thomas. Even a speck of isolated shower right here near Hanover. And if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery, we don't see much happening across eastern Cuba, western Haiti, or Jamaica. Just some dots of greens across Portland. That's basically it. Unfortunately, we don't have the Cayman radar to show. States here radar offline for maintenance. If we take a look at what's happening right now on the Halfway Tree cam, we can see people in their vehicles going about their business. We can see people walking, going about their business. Definitely going to be a fair night tonight for sure in Halfway Tree. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday. And we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some orange colors. That represents up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, like what we see here on the key on the right. Some very below average temperatures are expected across Central America and North America for sure. But we see it has been very hot recently for sure across the Caribbean in general. In terms of Jamaica's average temperature, for the month of January, we usually receive around 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30.2 to 32.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page. We have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages, it can definitely exacerbate the heat, making it hotter than normal because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Monday, January 20, 2025. They should say 2025. Considering that it was posted on January 18, 2025. Yeah, I think the person who is posting doesn't realize the error that's being made here. So we're talking about Mansfield in St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. YS Whitehall in St. Elizabeth from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We also have, hold on, let's see. Yeah, we already showed the Mansfield in St. Anne, but they also added another one. This is Pimento Walk and Parrotown, also in St. Anne, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, we have a lot of them in St. James, Cambridge to Seaford. We also have Ginger Hill, Catadupa, Rattrap, Ashton, Stonehenge, Pisgah, Kew Park, Dundee, Laughsland, and roads leading off for 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Either way, if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of drinking lots of water throughout the day. Put away the sugar drinks, drink water instead. Taking a look here at the dry air map, we know the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see that we have a lot of dry air stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. We can also see that we have a little patch of moist air to the south of Hispaniola, and given the flow of the winds from the east or from the east-southeast, now this moist air could definitely get into Jamaica, maybe bring us some isolated showers. It would be much welcome for sure, because you know that the dry air can definitely cause it to be drier than normal for sure. And at least we don't have the Saharan dust, by the way, because for 2 p.m. on Monday, the Saharan dust forecast has all of the browns that represent the Saharan dust across portions of the main development region. You can see the slight shades of browns, and we're indeed grateful that that's all it is, because if we had the dark shades of browns, that would mean that we're going to be getting that vigorous plume that can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're indeed grateful that that is all that there is. And North America, Central America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and Northern South America are going to be in the clear for 2 p.m. on Monday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant that the least in terms of the wave height should be across the Bahamas, Western Caribbean. We have those light shades of blues to dark shades of blues that we can see by the key on the bottom right. That represents anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to 1 or 1.5 meter wave heights, while sections of the Gulf, sections of the Central to the Eastern Caribbean are going to be receiving those purples that represents 2 to 3 meter wave heights. On Jamaica's north coast, tomorrow up to 1 meter, on Jamaica's south coast 2.5 meter wave heights, and that's because of the winds that are going to be expected. Clearly across the Gulf of Mexico we see more of a northeasterly flow. Across the Caribbean we see an east-northeasterly flow curving kind of westward as it gets to the south of Jamaica, and we see the bright greens into the yellows that we can see from the key on the bottom right. That represents anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20, maybe even gusting to 25 knot winds. And if we take a closer look at Jamaica regarding these winds, on Jamaica's north coast tomorrow 10 knots, Jamaica's south coast up to 22 knots, which explains why the waves are so high. And we can see where the air is going to be piling up, maybe across sections of Western St. Elizabeth, maybe sections of Westmoreland, and whatever comes off of the sea from the east will definitely come in again to section of Eastern St. Thomas and Portland. So look out for that. And with the upper level winds still coming in from the west, not going to be seeing much activity in terms of the cirrus clouds, especially considering how dry it has been these days. But if we take a look at the rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 5 a.m. on Monday. Very interesting that both the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models are still showing the blues that represent rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland, maybe even spilling into sections of St. Mary. Skipping ahead though to about 4 p.m. on Monday, we still see the blues that represent some isolated shores across eastern Jamaica, not so much on the Euro. But look at this, across sections of some southern and western parishes, we're seeing some blues that represent some isolated shores, maybe sections of western St. Catherine, Clyde, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover. According to the Euro, the GFS is only showing those blues off the coast of western St. Elizabeth right there. We'll see exactly what occurs, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on our other social media platforms. Either way, in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast map, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall expected across Jamaica from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. We can clearly see that the most rainfall within the next 24 hours should be across eastern Jamaica, where the Euro is showing all the way up to 0.19, 0.16 of an inch of rainfall. Could be even more than that across the far eastern end. We see those yellows representing from 0.3, 0.4 of an inch. The GFS a bit more reserved, showing up to at least the 0.2, 0.25 of an inch of rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, it's expected. We're in the month of January. We usually receive less rainfall this month, considering that we're in our dry season. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 20 millimeters of rainfall for the month of January. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 3 inches of rainfall. That's about 75 millimeters of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of January or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit the website www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website will show you that information about your parish. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts rainfall that we receive on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. Alright, so as stated, we have some low to mid-level clouds pushing through the eastern Caribbean with some amount of moisture embedded in them for sure. We can see the frontal system that we highlighted on the surface map bring some overcast skies and some rainfall to portions of Florida as we speak, as well as the waters of the Gulf. We can also see some activity across portions of northeastern South America as usual, associated with the intertropical convergence zone. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening over there. Well, Don't believe that there's nothing there. Maybe the Doppler radar is glitching out. Here we go. So we're seeing some greens or some isolated shores to the north of Puerto Rico, across eastern Puerto Rico. Definitely getting some moderate, some slightly heavy rain over there as we speak. You can also see some rain bands in and around Martinique, to the south and to the east of Dominica as well. And if we load these images from earlier today, you can see that western Puerto Rico definitely got in on some isolated shores. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we see a lot of rainfall in and around Barbados as we speak. Some isolated showers in the blues, the greens, representing some light to moderate rainfall coming in from the east northeast for sure. Definitely affecting Barbados as we speak, with more to come. We can also see some of this coming through Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We also see some of it passing through Grenada, Tobago, maybe reaching as far as Trinidad as well. And if we take a look at the wider VF Doppler radar images, you can definitely see that rainfall passing through Trinidad, some of it spilling into sections of Venezuela. We can also see some rainfall passing to the north of the ABC Islands, some rainfall across western Colombia, some rainfall across northern Honduras, section of Belize, section of eastern portion of the Yucatan. And we can see that line of shores affecting the waters of the Gulf, some of which is affecting portion of northwestern Cuba, as well as southern Florida. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. And we can clearly see that the areas that are already getting rainfall right now are going to be receiving more rainfall within the next 24 hours. Or it could be that this is the rainfall that they are expected to receive that they're getting now. So we're talking about sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Barbados. We can also see rainfall that's already affecting section of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, section of the ABC Islands, northern and western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, sections of northeastern Guatemala, Belize, much of the eastern Yucatan, much of western Cuba, into portion of the southern sections of Florida. You can also see some isolated shores in store for eastern Jamaica, like what we mentioned earlier, portions of the northeastern Dominican Republic, eastern Puerto Rico, and we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus. They are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.